It's time for a fresh talk on liquid lime and liquid calcium. Come on into our shop and let's get to it. Hi, this is Matt at Genesis Custom Food Plots. Welcome back to our shop here in Mosinee, Wisconsin. About a year and a half ago, Kenton and I did a video on liquid lime and liquid calcium products, and man alive, did we get a ton of questions on those. And we thought it was high time we revisited that video because there has been quite a few changes in the market. So today we've got Kenton Mehlberg from Plot Doctor here with us to kind of rehash that discussion. Kenton, can you kind of dive into what you've seen as changes in the market and some key things our viewers are going to want to be looking for?
Absolutely. First off, appreciate you having us back. First thing I want to cover is parent material. Lots of new products popping up out there all over the place, and we get questions on it all the time. So the first thing that you want to look at is what is your product actually made of. So if you're shopping for a liquid lime product specifically, we want to make sure that it's going to react in your soil and actually change pH. If you look on the back of ours, we'll zoom in here in a minute and show you about 24% calcium carbonate. Okay. If you see calcium chloride, if you see EDTA chelated, if you see calcium sulfate, if you don't see calcium carbonate on the back of your liquid lime, you probably want to steer away from it.
Yeah, sometimes it's really hard to find.
Absolutely. Yes. And again, if you can't find it, there's no reason why it shouldn't be on there. I would probably look for something else.
Sure.
Again, we've been on the marketplace for a long time. There's a reason why we see a lot of consistency in our product and the way that it works in lots of different soil types. But again, if you can't find that, it might just be a calcium product and not a specific liquid lime product.
Right. And calcium is there not to change pH. That's what the lime is for, correct?
Absolutely. Lime is not necessarily calcium. So we'll talk about that in a minute. That can be confusing. There's particle size, there's purity, and a couple different things that come in when we talk about both. But again, it needs to be reactive in order to work. And that's what our liquid lime does a good job of doing.
Okay. All right, Ken, you just made reference to particle size and purity when it comes to lime and reactions and whatnot. We use a variety of lime products in our business. We use your liquid lime product. We use a pelletized lime product. We use egg lime products. My understanding of how those works is kind of on this chart. So if this is our number of years down below and how fast things react, our middle line right here kind of represents egg lime. It's kind of a slow reacting thing. It's going to take multiple years for that to work its way through.
Yep.
Pelletized lime is going to work a little bit quicker. It's going to start up here. You're going to peak at about 18 months-ish, somewhere there, give or take.
Yep.
Going to kind of peter out after 2.5 years. My understanding of your product is on the far left side. Can you kind of explain what's going on here?
Yeah, so takes those reactionary curves to kind of an extreme due to the fact that it's submicron, one of the smallest and purest products on the market, and that's why we can do this. And what we're doing is instantaneous. As soon as it hits the soil, and you've seen that, it's a very fast reaction. The trade-off is it's only going to last for about a year. So if you make a spring application, by the following spring, you're going to be out of that particular product. You make a fall application, you might have some residual the following year. But again, use whichever product fits your scenario best. Use the strength of that, again, to your advantage. So, and you've used all three, Matt. Why do you use Pel lime versus, say, egg lime?
Yeah, so for us, it's a matter of where we're at in the life cycle of the food plot. We do, for example, a ton of dozer work. We get into dozer work, and a lot of times we're pushing right up against a planting date. We'll run a combination of these. We'll run a liquid lime product to get a reaction now, and then we'll run it behind that with some pelletized or egg lime at the same time. So that's starting to stretch out over that time. But we use all three, and we've seen the reaction work just like this with all three of those products.
Yeah, and that's exactly how we recommend you use it. You get overlapping bell curves. Again, multiple curves work into your advantage. You get the short reaction for now, and then you get the residual, the long term of the dry. And that's a perfect place to be.
All right, Ken, let's talk about the role that calcium plays in the soil structure. We've got calcium, magnesium, hydrogen, our three main components of soil structure. So we're not going to win a Nobel Prize in chemistry here, but when we're putting down liquid lime, we're reducing the amount of hydrogen. Small, tiny particles that really compact themselves together create less room for the soil to breathe.
100%. Yeah.
All right.
That's why you need a reactive material to take the hydrogen off the soil. Yep.
All right. So talk to us about calcium and what's the point of having calcium in your soil versus liquid lime?
Yep. So we were talking about it earlier. Don't get confused. Just because something's got calcium in it doesn't necessarily mean it's a lime. Okay.
Right.
But where would we use calcium? Say you've got a soil test that's 7.2. You already have the hydrogen off the soil. Okay.
Right.
You were telling me actually of a guy that just sent you a test earlier.
Right.
So in that situation, you don't need more reactive lime product.
Yep.
You need just calcium because he was out of whack. He had high magnesium and low calcium. So we can improve the structure of the soil, increase the efficiency of that soil from a fertility standpoint, water standpoint, biology, air, all those things by improving the ratio of calcium to magnesium.
Right. So we're looking at trying to create more big particles, fewer little particles to allow that soil to open up and use the fertilizers and things that we're meeting the soil with more efficiently.
Yes, correct.
All right, Ken, let's try to wrap this thing up here. The way my brain thinks about this, and this is maybe high school chemistry, but that's what we need to know.
Keep
right?
it simple, Stu.
Keep it simple, right?
Yep.
When I think about this, I think all liquid lime has calcium, but not all calcium is beneficial for changing pH.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
All right. So with that in mind, what are your takeaways from this?
Yep. So first off, know what you want to do. Okay. If you want to change pH, make sure you use a reactive product. The purer and the smaller the particle size, the better. Make sure it's a calcium carbonate parent material. If you're past that, you've got the hydrogen off the soil, move to calcium, look at your soil structure. And again, if you need to open that up, that's where a calcium product comes in alone. Again, the higher the calcium, the better. It'll not only feed from a plant nutrition standpoint, but it'll improve that soil structure, open it up, and make your overall fertility program as well as your soil just function more efficiently and better.
Hopefully that's helpful to you. There's a lot of information here between lime and calcium. If you've got questions, feel free to drop a comment below. We'll do our best to get back to you on those. Feel free to touch base with Kenton over at Plot Doctor. They answer tons of questions for people every single day. We appreciate you taking the time to watch, and we'll see you next time.